Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another DC deck building unboxing. These are for Rebirth. These are the two of the one-shot packs. So I don't know how these are going to hit retail or when or if. Maybe they'll combine them into a box later on. But they were part of the Justice League Dark Kickstarter set. All in, you could get them in there. So hopefully they'll eventually release these. So Rebirth is kind of a bit of a interesting concept for the game because it plays as sort of like a board game with the deck building game added into it. So it keeps the same basic elements, but it adds some campaign modes, adds some movement around the board. So it can't be directly mixed and matched with all the other games like everything else kind of can. I mean, you can even sort of mix rivals with everything else, or Injustice saying they just have slight different rules. Some sets work better than others, but Rebirth doesn't really work that because they have a new mechanic with movement and villains being in certain areas. So people weren't really sure if this is a set they wanted to keep doing stuff with. So they did was they released these two one-shot packs, which add a couple like one-off scenarios to do over the campaign. Gets these couple new cards and characters and stuff, which is really cool. And I think if they do well and people seem to enjoy them, they'll probably release more content. I think that's sort of the one thing is people are like, you released Rebirth, and then you keep releasing more rival sets. You released more crossover packs, but you didn't add anything else to Rebirth, and it kind of felt like as a company they abandoned it. So it's kind of like, well, how is it worth getting excited for if they can't mix it with the other stuff and you're sort of abandoning it? But yeah, we're going to get some definitely new cool stuff in here. Now, I don't think there were any... Yeah. I don't think there's anything that's exclusively listed as Kickstarter exclusive. It's just the packs that are in here. So we're going to look at the first one, which is the Cry for Justice. So let's grab this. Let's tilt my camera down a little bit. So we have the Cry for Justice one-shot. Now, before I go any farther with this, spoilers alert. If you do not want to know all the spoilers for cards in here and unlocks and all that stuff, I'm heads up right now because we're going through everything. Some of the campaign stuff, we want the original stuff. You might just want to pull up maybe the hero cards, their cards, shuffle the rest of the cards and see how that works. That's up to you. But we're going to go ahead and jump into this. So we have this story. A string of robberies across the world leads various labs bearing of the tech they were developing. The Justice League must find the people behind these thefts before it's too late. Start. Add Trick Arrow to lineup slot 5. Locations. Use those 5 different locations. Threat track. Main deck. Add 2 villains to the stack. Add Arsenal and Electrocutioner to stack 3. Place Prometheus to the bottom of stack 3 after it's been shuffled. And the side missions. Add Watch the Birdie and 1 for all available side missions for the rest of the campaign. So we have some rewards in here. Win or lose, remove Prometheus from the campaign. If you win the scenario, add Arsenal, Trick Arrows, and Electrocutioner to the main deck for the remainder of the campaign. Start the next scenario. Each player may draw a card and then discard. So these are kind of neat. So what you do is you're playing a campaign. Let's say you've done campaign 2. You could do this as a side off. One shot, you jump off, you do this for a game. You could add some extra cards in there. So they're kind of neat little bonuses that way. Special, before each villain moves during step 3 of the turn sequence, if there's one or more equipment in its space, move the equipment with the highest cost with that villain. After the villain enters a destination, destroy all equipment at that location. Super villain cost, defeat 1 more for each equipment in the destroyed pile. And there's some clarifications, so you can pause if you'd like to see those. I'm not going to worry about that. We're going to get 2 new tokens for our two new main characters, Green Arrow and Black Canary. So that's really cool. So let's see what they do. So Green Arrow is going to say the first time you play a non-starter assist card each turn with the top card of your deck. If it's an equipment or an assist card, draw it. Otherwise, you may discard it. So yeah, using assist is going to help you out with him. And then for Black Canary, we are going to get pay 3 move, attach a weakness to a villain in your space. Weakness cards are reduced its cost by 1. Nice, so you spend your move to make opponents weaker. Then each character in Rebirth also gets special signature cards they unlock throughout the game. So it'll be, look like all the rest of the cards work over there. Say signature, green arrow, card number 1. He has bows and arrows. Assist, at range 3, gets +1 power. He can gain trick shot. Assist for range 4, +1 power. Each time a villain is defeated this turn, target player draws a card. And then 3, he gains red arrow as an ally. Assist range 3, +1 power. Target player may put an assist from their discard pile on top of their deck. So it's kind of cool. So green arrow is all about playing with the assist cards, shooting arrows from a distance. Good old Oliver Queen there, and Diana. Why did my name just forget what her name is? It's Diana Lance. The Black Canary, she gets move 4. It's also this is a move card. Replaces a run. Takes her motorcycle to run around on. But that move lets her pay her special card right off the bat. She can get level 2, which gives her the Canary Cry, +1 power, attach a weakness to each villain in your space. And Bird of Prey. Another superpower, +1 power defense. Discard to have a target character within range 1 avoiding attack. If you do, attach a weakness to that villain. Tiny. So she's gonna get attack weaknesses. So that's her little mechanic. So we have a couple. Oh, I probably could have looked at this right away. We have the one-shot scenarios. One-shot scenarios can be played either by itself as a standalone scenario or integrated into a full campaign as a side scenario. The following additional rules are depending upon the game mode. Standalone scenarios allow you to play a Rebirth game without committing to an entire campaign. You may choose a scenario to use standard or difficulty or impossible mode to include all your character signature cards in your starting deck. Follow any additional setup on the scenario card. It's kind of cool with standalone scenarios. The idea is it'd be neat if they somehow tweak the rules to make every single scenario standalone. That would have been cool as well. Villains cost 1 more to defeat for each damage on locations. Super villain makes a successful attack at its destination. The location is destroyed. Players automatically lose the scenario. Check the scenario for additional modifications. On the back side, during a campaign, after your first attempt at any scenario, win or lose, you may choose to play an available one-shot instead of replaying the scenario or continuing to the next one. If you are successful, earn the rewards for the one-shot, and it becomes unavailable for the rest of the campaign. If you fail to complete a one-shot, you may choose to attempt it later after another campaign scenario. After attempting a one-shot, win or lose, you will play the next scenario in the campaign. So you can try it once, then later on you can try it again if you lose, but not like twice in a row. Include any main decks you've unlocked in the campaign. Include any signature cards you have unlocked in your starter deck. Place damage sustained from scenarios. Add an additional card to the lineup for each one you've already completed. Some lineups will have more than one card at the start of the game. Gameplay. You may complete any available side missions during this scenario. Any damage on locations carries over. So it's kind of cool. It gives you the option to do both. Alright, so we did mention a couple of other cards in here. They mentioned Trick Arrow. Specifically went to one of the decks there. Add Trick Arrow to level lineup on slot 5. This gives us equipment with an assist at range 2, +2 powers. You may defeat one villain within range 1 this turn. Also mentioned, we put Arsenal and Executioner to stack 3. So there's Arsenal. Assist, range 3, +1 power. Reveal and draw the top card of your deck. It's an equipment, draw an additional card. And the Executioner, who will have the spot of 3 on him, attacks each player within range 1, discards 1 card. Reward, each player discards up to 2 cards, then they draw a card for each card they discarded this way. And then not lastly, but next we also mentioned we did a fight off against Prometheus as a supervillain. Who's one of the big main bad guys of this storyline, actually. Attack, destroying equipment within range 2. Reward, deal 1 damage for each location within range 1 of Prometheus. Add 2 cards to the left. Target player may gain a card within range 1. So, rewards are a fun extra mechanic they started using in this game. So instead of getting these cards to your deck, they just give you a reward for beating them, which is really neat. And then we also have the Impossible mode, which will have the special Impossible mode back on there. Surgical Strikes for Prometheus. Ongoing. Each time a villain moves into your space during step 3 of the turn sequence, or you move into a villain space with the top card of the deck. If the revealed card costs 1 or greater, discard it. Yeah, it definitely makes it hard. Like, pings your higher cards off your deck. Then the last couple of cards we have are our side missions. So, mission, if a single player is attacked by 3 villains in a single turn, they gain Martial Artist. Remove the side mission from the campaign. Add Martial Arts to the main deck for the remainder of the campaign. These are kind of fun. Little extra things to do to gain some extra cards. There's Martial Artist. +2 power, defense. Discard to avoid an attack. Draw a card. And you may move 1 villain in your space, 1 space. And then we have Watch the Birdie. Mission, if a player plays 3 or more assist cards during another player's turn, the assisting player gains Speedy. Remove the side mission, put Speedy in the deck. So kind of one sort of focused more for Black Canary, because she wants to weaken villains, so she can definitely fight more villains. Which also being attacked by 3 villains, but she wants to probably get close to them to do that. Another one kind of works with the assist, works more for Green Arrow. Range 3, +1 power for each assist card in your discard pile. So that's very cool. So you get just a few new cards, a little extra mode. But again, it's something you can kind of play. You're mixing it in with the rest of the cards. So if you play this after Scenario 1, or you play this after Scenario 7, you're going to have different gameplay feel because you have other different cards unlocked. And again, you have it challenging. Maybe play one of these one-offs, gain some extra bonuses. We did get one other card in here, which is really cool. This is actually a promo card as well. So they did include it in here, but I think it was available at like conventions and stuff, but they added this in here. This is the Dark Knight Metal campaign. Just kind of works with a one-shot using some of the stuff from the Dark Knight's Metal big box set, which is kind of cool. And again, this would be neat if they added cards like that, made more cards like these to like, I can take the Teen Titans or the Villains Forever expansions and add them into some of the couple of those cards in a Rebirth. Even if it's only taking like 5 cards out of there, 6 cards, 10 cards out of that entire set, but to make them added in, to make a Rebirth a little bit more robust for people that bought everything, that'd be kind of cool. Barbados and his Dark Knight seek to consume the multiverse. Batman and Superman have been captured by the dark multiverses by Barbados' lieutenant, the Batman Who Laughs. It's up to the rest of the Justice League to capture the superheroes and stop the Bat God. Follow the rules and instructions for standalone scenario one-shots. Place the Batman Who Laughs tile near the play area, and he captures the characters Batman and Superman, both from Rebirth. After each player has chosen their character, shuffle the unchosen characters to form face-down stack next to the Batman Who Laughs. Replace Rebirth weaknesses with the Dark Knight Metal weakness cards, only using 20 of them. Add 1 breakthrough per player to the lineup. There's your location, there's your threats, and main deck, shuffle 2 random Dark Knight Metal supervillains with a cost of 11 or 12 into the stacks. Place Barbados on the top of stack 4. So that's kind of cool. So right, using Batman Who Laughs, the weakness cards, some of the breakthrough cards from that set, some of the villains. It's a really neat idea. Dark Knight Metal reminders. Don't forget to resolve the Batman Who Laughs effect when defeating a supervillain. Playing 2 weakness cards in the same turn causes one of your characters to be captured and ends your turn. Special rules. When the threat track token moves to a space with a damage token, each player gains a weakness unless they reveal a weakness from their hand. Then move the damage tokens into the number on the threat track. If the player chooses to use a breakthrough to its stack effect, place it into the space opposite your character. Your starter character cannot be captured. If your starting character is your only character and you would be captured instead, turn that character face down until the next supervillain is defeated. If you play 2 weakness cards and you have no face-up characters, your turn ends, but you do not return the weakness. Place any weaknesses you would go into your score pile into your discard instead. Alternate loss condition. If no player has face-up characters, Barbados consumes your world and your team loses the scenario. And then there's some special rules for those characters. So that's pretty crazy, right? That's a really neat idea. I like that they did that. It'd be neat, again, if they added little things like that to like all the other expansions. Just someone has to come up with a creative way to add each other different version to the set. So then we're going to hop into one-shot number 2. We're going to look at those. So we have another one-shot rule card. This is just same as it was before, just in case you picked that up. You picked up this pack instead of the other one. I don't, it's, again, they might release them differently. But we have our one-shot, which is Time Heist. The Atom's old nemesis, Kronos, has gone stealing spree throughout time. This hourglass allows his allies extra movements to recover, making them impossible to defeat. Defeating Kronos himself also poses a challenge as he keeps jumping in and out of the current time. You'll need to defeat his crew while Kronos' time-traveling capabilities are out of play in his present heist. So start at Atom, Ray Chow to the slot 5. If you're playing Impossible mode, add Out of Time to the stack of Impossible mode cards. Locations, threat tracks, main deck. Add Into the Microverse and Chemo to stack 3. Place Kronos on the stack of 3. And then add your 2 side missions. So basically it's the same way as the other one. You add 1 card to one lineup. You add a couple other cards into the villains, into the other stacks for the main deck. And then you have the side missions sitting aside. So it's only a couple different cards for each character. So these are a really neat way to just add extra little content. We do have the rewards. Remove Kronos. If you win, add Ryan Chow into the Microverse and Timo to the main decks for the remainder of the campaign. So you get 3 new cards. Especially when Kronos is in the lineup, supervillains cannot be defeated. After you defeat Kronos, add your top card of the main deck to your space. Put Kronos below the top X cards of the deck, where X is the number of players plus 1. Interesting. So it kind of jumps back through the deck. And there's some signature cards. So some of these are plays a run instead of a punch. Note at the bottom of the card. Cool. So who are we going to get in this deck? We're, of course, going to get the Atom, but we're also getting Vixen. So that's kind of neat. We're getting some other, more different characters. So the Atom, there's a Batman there, riding on a Batarang. The first time you play a card with a cost of 1, 2, or 3 each turn, you may put a different card with a cost of 1, 2, or 3 from your discard pile into your hand. Nice. So you can purchase a card, also get it back potentially. That's really neat. Works only for weaker cards, but having more and more weaker cards can add up very well. And then we have Vixen. Once per turn, if you play 4 or more cards with different card types, you get what? +1 power and draw a card. So she's going to want to play a bunch of different cards. So very neat, because you're comparing them to the Green Arrow and Black Canary. They work very differently. Each 4 of these characters are different things. You could potentially get both of these packs, play a 4-player game. Each player could play as one of the new 4 heroes. You could play both scenarios. You'll play the first scenario, then play both of these back to back, do them, gain some extra cards. Be very cool. Alright, so let's look at their signature cards. For the Atom, we have the Atom Suit. It says move 2 once per turn. When you play with a player thing range 1 draws 1 or more cards, you may reveal this card from your hand. If you do that, player may discard one of those drawing cards to draw another. That's kind of fun and helpful. Catch a Ride. He's riding on a Hawkman. +1 power. Once per turn, when a character moves into your space, you may reveal this card from your hand. If you do, put a move card with a cost of 3 or less from your discard pile into your hand. And Size Manipulation. If you control 5 or more different cards, including this one, with a cost of 3 or less, +3 power. Otherwise, 1 power. Nice. So it's very, very beneficial from having different cards with cheaper amounts. For Vixen, we're going to get her Tantum Totem Equipment card. You may put 1 superpower from your discard pile into your hand. If you chose not to, gain 1 power. Tap the Life Web. Move 2, which are the top 2 cards of your deck. Discard any number of them and return the rest in any order. And Animal Instinct. +1 power and additional power for each villain within range 1. Interesting. So she gets a bunch of superpowers and stuff to help her out. Alright, then the cards we add. You mentioned adding the Adam Ryan Choi to the deck. So we have +1 power. If there's a villain in the lineup, you may pass this card to another player's hand. That can be very helpful too. Into the Microverse. Assist range 2. Each player may put a card at the cost of 2 or less from the discard pile into their hand. And we have a villain in Chemo. Attack, deal 1 damage to a location with range 1 unless you destroy a card at the cost of 4 or less within 1 range. Reward, destroy a card with a cost of 7 or less within range 1 of Chemo. Nice. You can destroy a villain too because they're a cost of 7 or less. And then we have Kronos, our big villain for the game. Also worth noting that, just for the sake of noting this, is so Chemo was 5 and he's 1 and the other 2 were 2 and 3. So even if you somehow like want to do some big giant mode where you combine all these characters together, all these decks together mixing with everything else or however, they're not going to be in the same exact spot. It's just kind of cool. Ongoing, Kronos' movement cannot be stopped by characters. Attack, discard the top cards of your deck, stopping when empty, until you discard at least a cost of 2 or less. If your deck is now empty, gain a weakness. Reward, choose any number of players to draw a card. Awesome. And then his impossible mode version is Out of Time. Ongoing, the first time a villain moves onto a location each turn, reveal the top card of the main deck. If it is a superpower or equipment, destroy it. Nice. And then we have our side quests, which will add more cards to the game if you manage to complete them. Nuclear Fusion. Mission. During your turn, you may place a non-basic card with a cost of 1 or greater from your hand under a location. When there are 2 cards with the same name under a location, destroy those cards. Any player gains Firestorm. Remove this from the side mission. From the campaign, add Firestorm to the deck for the remainder of the campaign. Interesting. So yeah, multiple players can kind of team up to unlock this. And then we get Firestorm for it, who has a hero who says move 3, discard any number of cards, draw a card for each card discarded this way. Then the other card we're going to get is Berserker Fury. If a single player defeats any number of villains with a combined printed cost of 16 or more during a single turn, that player gains Hawkman. And then you can add Hawkman to your game, which has hero, move 2, play 2 power. If you have played an equipment this turn, an additional 2 power. Cool. So I love the little side mission cards are also neat well, because it's like, just by beating Kronos or whoever, the villain from the other one, which was, I already forgot, Prometheus, you gain 3 extra cards throughout the game, right? That's pretty cool as well. A hero, or like generally a hero, a villain, and then like one other type of card. But then also defeating these side missions, you'd be a little bit trickier to add them in there. Yeah, this is a really neat concept to do. So the last thing we have in here is another promo card. This was actually like released really early on. It's Learning the Ropes. This is a training scenario. So this was like when the game was first being promoted out, they had this, it's like a smaller card versus one of the oversized ones. They decided not to reprint it. But it's kind of neat they included this in here as well. It says, welcome to Rebirth. Before you tackle a full Rebirth campaign, draft a short introductory scenario. Can you defeat 2 supervillains before time runs out? If you cannot add cards to the lineup, the scenario ends. You'll need to work together as a team of 2 to 4 players or solo to maneuver around the city to protect vital locations and defeat the villains to earn a team victory. Consult the rulebook location, page 4, movement rules 11, and how villains functions 12 and 13. Leave the back of the rulebook face up so players may learn the turn sequence. Again, very, very general starting cards. So you're going to get these locations: Daily Planet, PlayStation, Star Labs, Arkham, and City Hall. Threat track flip over, threats 4 tiles and cover 1, 2, and 3, and 5 with blanks. So you're going to deal with 1 threat in the main deck. In this intro scenario modifies the setup found in the rulebook. Shuffle the 84 cards in the main deck, make 2 stacks of 15 cards each, and 1 stack of 5. The remaining 49 cards will not be used. Then shuffle the Despero and Amazo card into one of the 15 stacks. Create the main deck by placing the 17 card stacks on the 5 cards and the 15 stacks on top of that. So you'll have one villain in the first 17 cards. Then you'll have 5 cards, and then you'll have another 15 there. I don't really know why you need that one stack of 5 in the middle. It's kind of interesting. I guess just so you can separate the two 15s apart. So you only mix it into one of the two 15s, but I don't know why they didn't just say 15 and then 20. Kind of weird. Yeah, so it's kind of neat. So it's just a little quick promo, like, if you want to play a scenario, so like these new Rebirth one-shots are like, they're the same as any other scenario, basically. But they're a little bit, just one-offs you can play. This is kind of maybe a way you can start the game off. So maybe if you're playing the game for the first time, play with this mode, and then jump in after that. Hey, and maybe even go at some of these one-shots right away if you like. Possibly gain some extra new cards right off the bat. And then start the full-on campaign after that. And that might be a quick way to get new players into it. You play a short way, oh, they learn how to play a game. Play a quick scenario so you can see how some of the gaining the cards do and all that. Oh, they really enjoyed that. That's cool. And then maybe see if they want to play the full campaign. But that's what we have for these Rebirth one-shot packs. I kind of hope they keep making some more. It's a really neat way to add extra things. I love the Dark Knight Metal thing. Again, I wish they'd add some more for all the other sets. Again, it was adding, like, that adding a little bit more stuff, but even if you kind of treat some of these like one-shots, or even make one-shots based off the other sets, where maybe you just have to, like, you might just have to take some of the same villain cards or character cards, you just take, maybe just add, like, some, like, here's a scenario on how it works, and then maybe add, like, 2 side mission cards that add specific other characters from the game. Again, because those guys don't have the move or assist, they might not always work as well, but definitely you can get around that if you're only adding 4 or 5 cards. But yeah, it could be a neat way to add some of the other mechanics, other villains, and characters to the games. So I hope to see what they do in the future. If you guys are enjoying these videos, definitely hit me up in the comments. Check out the rest of my DC deck building unboxings. See you guys later. Bye.